Welcome to lesson 4.1. Today our statement is strong mathematicians can demonstrate an understanding of properties and algebraic notation. In box 1 right now, I'd like you to fill out the vocabulary words. Our first word is an expression. An expression is one or more numbers, variables, or numbers and variables with one or more operations. To break that down, I've given you some examples. We have an example of just the number 4 as an expression. We have the expression of 6x. Notice if the 6 and the x are smushed together, that's going to mean 6 times x. Here's one with a operation, 8a minus 3. And here we just have 7 plus 4. Those are all expressions. The next word I'd like you to write down in your box is equation. An equation is a statement that two expressions are equal. It has an equal sign. Notice if you look at the two examples, we have 40 plus 25, and then when there's an equal sign, 65. We know if we add 40 and 25 together, we will get 65, and we know 65 equals 65. There's another problem there. 16 divided by 4 minus 3 equals 1, and we'll talk about the order of operations in a little bit. Two more vocabulary words for you to put down are simplify. Simplify is performing operations to combine like terms. When we see simplify, another word we're going to think of is the word solve, because we're going to solve some things. We're going to put things together. Our final vocabulary word for this unit is evaluate. We're going to substitute a value for a letter or symbol and then simplify the expression. Once again, we see evaluate. It's another reminder that we are going to do some solving. And those are the 4 vocabulary words that we will need for this lesson. Moving over to box 2, we're going to talk about some examples that can help you go through the lesson. Our first one, if you'll notice, examples number 1 and number 2 have letters but no equal signs. So what we're going to do is we're going to be simplifying these expressions, which means we're going to be putting together like terms. Notice I have 8p plus p plus p. You'll notice there's no number by 2 of those p's. If there is just a letter, we know that in front of that is actually 1, because 1 times p would still be p. So if I add these up together to simplify, I'm going to take 8p plus 1p plus 1p, and I'm going to get 10p. Now with number 2, we have to do a little segue here to order of operations. Some of you might have heard the saying before of please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Each one of those letters is an acronym that stands for the operation. And we start with the P with its parentheses, which we have to do first. The next one's exponents, which we will talk about a little bit more in class. And then we know M stands for multiply, D for divide, A for add, and S for subtract. So we get to start with our parentheses first. If we look, we have 5z minus z, which would give us 4z. Now we have 4z minus z again, which would give us a 3z if we're combining our like terms. Here you're asked to solve on numbers 3 and 4, to solve for a letter. So I'm looking, 48 divided by m equals 6. Well, I got to think about it. 6 times what can equal 48? Or I can look, 48 divided by what can give me 6. So knowing my number facts really helps me here. So I think of 6. 6 times what gives me 48? I'm thinking 6 times 8 gives me 48. If I put 48 divided by 8 equals 6 in my equation, that would work. Number 4, I have x times 3 equals 21. I think of what can x be that can help me get to 21 on both sides of the equation to show that they are equal. Well, I know that 7 times 3 equals 21. Well, if 21 equals 21, x would equal 3. And those are some of the types of problems you will see in this assignment. The last type we're going to deal with is we're going to take a look at some of these evaluate. Notice there is no equal sign, but we have a lot of information that's going on here. So we're going to look at how to evaluate for numbers 5 and 6. Notice it tells me what A is. A is 4. So what I need to do is I need to rewrite my equation and put the number in there. So I have 19 minus parentheses 4 plus 6. Now I have to go back to my order of operations to notice that I have parentheses, so I have to do that operation first. So now I would have 19 minus 10 because I'm adding the 4 plus the 6. Now I can continue on and I would get an answer of 19 minus 10, and that would give me 9. So I'd end up with an answer of 9 for this problem. In number 6, there's quite a few parentheses. So now if there's two sets of parentheses, we always start with the ones on the left. We have 24 divided by 3 times d plus 7. Notice our first thing is d equals 3. So I'm going to rewrite the equation and put the d into my problem. So 24 divided by 3 times 3 plus 7. Now I know first 24 divided by 3 equals 8. And I have my next set of parentheses, 3 plus 7 equals 10. And now 8 times 10, I would have an answer of 80. So these are the practice examples that you can use to help you with some of your problems you're going to get right now. In box number 3, it's now your turn to show me what you can do. So notice the first one is an evaluate problem. We have b equals 3, and then our equation is parentheses 8 divided by 4, and then parentheses times, and the next set of parentheses it's 7 minus b. Problem number 2, we have 9e minus e. Problem number 3, we have 4 times parentheses 9 minus 3 equals g. G equals, you need to solve for what does g equal. And problem number 4, you have x times 8 equals 72. You have to figure out what is x. If you go through and you get those, here's a little challenge for you to write in this in your practice box, box number 3. We would like you to write a real-world example to match this equation. N plus $25 equals $60. Think of a way how you're going to use that equation and put it into a real-world scenario. Last but not least, we have box number 4 for questions, comments, and concerns. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns that you have gathered from watching this video, I would like you to put them in box 4. Also, if you have any strategies that you used that helped you figure these out, I would like you to put them also into box 4. Box 4 is great because that will kind of lead our class discussion on this topic.